Sharks' new driver confirmed, at least for this weekend, plus sprint car teams push the limits at Knoxville with Aero bits, a modified standout getting a late model chance, and a lot more today. Let's go. It's Thursday, April 24th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is DIRTRACKR Daily presented by Kubota Genuine Parts. Today's daily show is being supported by BAPS Motor Speedway and SprintCarUnlimited.tv. Coming up this Sunday, BAPS will continue their expanded 410 sprint car schedule with round number 3 of their season-long championship. Sunday's program will feature some of the best sprint car teams in central Pennsylvania, joined by 358 modifieds. If you can't get to the track, watch it all live on SprintCarUnlimited.tv. Sprint cars will be on track for hot lap time trials at 5 p.m. The upcoming 410 schedule at BAPS will feature several more 410 sprint car shows, including Pennsylvania Speed Week in June and the World of Outlaws in July. All races except the World of Outlaws event will be included in that track championship. And new this year, the BAPS Point Fund has grown to $20,000. Head over to BAPSMotorspeedway.com to see the full slate of races. And if you want to watch each of those championship races live, including this Sunday, plus that PA Speed Week show, the Kevin Gobrecht Classic, and the season finale Sprint Showdown in November, you can do that all season long at SprintCarUnlimited.tv. So before I could even get the Wednesday show uploaded with the Ashton Torgerson rumors, the young driver went ahead and just broke his own news yesterday on social media. He will indeed get behind the wheel of the Shark Racing 1A sprint car. The way the announcement is worded, though, it kind of seems as though this initial run is only for this weekend. Torgerson mentions 3 nights of racing in Pennsylvania. That would definitely include the Grove on Friday and BAPS on Sunday. Jacob Allen's original schedule had Port and not Lincoln, so my assumption is that they're going to stick to that the 1A will be at Port Royal for the 15,000 win show. If you don't know Ashton Torgerson, he's a young guy from the West Coast, has made multiple Chili Bowl appearances and spent much of last season running in midgets. This season, it seems as though the focus has shifted towards sprint cars, and he's run some in a family-owned car, but also with Clayton Snow. 5 races so far with High Limit, 2 with NARC, and that first night of Mini Gold Cup. He made both High Limit features at Central Arizona, and a 15th on the second night there is his best finish of the year. Torgerson's best career 410 finish was a 7th with NARC at Southern Oregon last year, but he's still very green when it comes to 410 competition. Just 23 career starts headed into this weekend. In 2025 at the Chili Bowl with Keith Coons, he was 8th in a Saturday B-Main, and last year in a full-time run with the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series, he won 3 times on his way to 4th in the final standings. Make no mistake, he is getting thrown into the deep end here with 3 big Central PA shows in that 1A. I think the expectations are going to be pretty low for the 18-year-old driver, as most drivers, you don't just roll into tracks like Williams Grove and Port Royal and BAPS and just immediately go fast. That Saturday show, like I said, at Port Royal, 15,000 a win, so that will be a packed field for sure. Looking beyond this weekend, I do think it's likely the 1A remains a fluid seat for the rest of 2025, and that is unless Torgerson just really shines. Rumblings are the Tanner Holmes door might not be completely closed, and I've heard Shark and Bobby Allen are still interested in running him in at least some races, especially later in the season. Jumping back to last weekend at Knoxville, I know some of you saw Jeremy Elliott's 90 at 9 video yesterday where he discussed the Aero bits that were found on a few cars during Thursday's practice night leading into the World of Outlaws events. If you don't know the story, Paul Silva's 57, driven by Kyle Larson, along with the cars of Tasker Phillips and Jack Anderson, were all spotted with added Aero pieces. On the 57 specifically, there was an underbelly piece that ran a significant length of the car all the way to the fuel tank, and I was told there was some sort of enclosure around the right rear shock as well. And I don't believe there are any photos of this floating around. If there were, I can't find them. I wish I could show you guys a better, view of what exactly it was, but, we'll just kind of have to just use our imaginations right now. Cleaning up that airflow, though, underneath the car could be helpful on a big track like Knoxville, and it wouldn't be the first time something like this was done. And I don't know the specifics on the other 2 machines, but all 3 teams were told by World of Outlaws officials to remove those extra parts before cars were allowed on track. The Outlaw rulebook, pretty specific about not allowing these types of pieces to be added to the cars, and there's an entire section of the book devoted to just the body. And then there's also the catch-all rule at the end of that section about any new designs needing to be approved in advance by series officials. It's a fairly bold move by these teams to go so blatantly against what is allowed, but hey, I guess sometimes you just need to test the system. It's my understanding that none of the three who were found with the parts alerted officials to their presence ahead of time, but that several other crew members in the pit area spotted the parts and passed the information along. No penalties are forthcoming that I know about because the pieces were not used in competition. When I talk about some of these tech things on the show, when we show off photos and point things out, understand that this same thing is happening in the pit area every week to all of the top running cars. Crews are on the hunt for any perceived advantage they can spot on their competitors' machines, and anything outside the ordinary is going to get reported. And with what we've seen from Silva over the past year between the wing and the turned up exhaust, his car is going to be in the crosshairs as soon as it's rolled out of the trailer. And something that I think went unnoticed this week in the aftermath of the Thursday Aero part discovery is that Knoxville itself made some rule changes in advance of their season opener this coming Saturday. Under Section 7.18 of their Sprint Car rulebook for body side panels, Section E saw verbiage updated about how those side panels can be fabricated and where they can be located. That update can be found at knoxvilleraceway.com/rules. You can wander through the Outlaw rulebook over at dirtcar.com/rules if you are curious. In some late model driver news, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series have lost one of their rookie competitors with the announcement that Daniel Adam will step back from the Super Late Model and spend much of the rest of 2025 driving a modified. Through the opening 10 series races, Adam had made just 3 main event starts and currently sits 18th in the championship standings. His best finish was a 16th place run at Swainsboro. In a release, the team revealed that Adam will run Midwest modified events in a Longhorn mod, but their super late model, it's not going to sit quiet. Decorated modified driver Mike McKinney will step into that seat and contest races with Mars, the Summer Nationals, and then other scattered events this season. McKinney has already won twice this season, and he won 17 modified shows in 2024, but he hasn't raced a late model since 2021. Team owner Joe Adams said Daniel needs time to, quote, fine-tune his racecraft and learn more car control, unquote, which is why this move is being made now. With Adam off the tour, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series heads to Talladega this weekend with 19 full-time teams. All right, let's run through some of the major dirt racing coming up this weekend, starting first with the late models. I just mentioned the World of Outlaws at the Talladega Short Track. They've got 2 nights coming up, with Saturday paying $50,000 to win. This event is being run alongside the NASCAR weekend across the street at the big track. And if you're not aware, there at Talladega Super Speedway, where NASCAR races, is literally on one side of the road and the Talladega Short Track is on the other. So lots of racing going to be going on in that area. Bobby Pierce leads the championship right now over Ryan Gustin and Nick Hoffman. On the flip side, the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is back racing after more than a month since their last event. They've got Georgetown, Hagerstown, and Port Royal coming up. Devin Moran, Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, and Brandon Overton are the 4 chase cars at the moment, but a lot has happened since they last raced. Based on the results we've seen elsewhere, I would expect Hudson O'Neal and Brandon Shepard, who are 8th and 9th in the standings, to be better here going forward. We've also got Mars at Brownstown and Peoria, while weekend comp cams shows have been canceled. Headlining the Sprint Car weekend is the World of Outlaws at Jacksonville and Hobstadt. David Gravel still in control of that championship, with Logan Schuchart now up to 2nd, and everyone else behind losing more ground. Tracks like Jacksonville and Hobstadt have produced surprise winners in the past, so don't be shocked if we see some different names up front Friday and Saturday. For example, Brady Bacon has won 2 straight at Hobstadt. In Ohio, the All-Star season should hopefully get started on Saturday at Fremont. The delayed start to the year did allow them to add a 13th full-time team, with Creed Kemenow signing on with the series. I still think Devin Borden, Caleb Henry, Brandon Spithaler are probably the early championship favorites. Rival Ohio Series Fast also in action with a Saturday show at Muskingum County. The Power I-410 Sprint Cars are at Creek County and Tri-State this weekend. Not Tri-State like the Outlaws are at, but Tri-State in Oklahoma. Just 1 race complete so far, a Sam Hafertepe win at the Texas Motor Speedway Dirt Track. Creek County with some nice upgrades for the 2025 season, including better lighting, a new catch fence, and changes elsewhere. They also painted that new catch fence black, which doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's actually a small thing that tracks can do that really helps the viewing experience. The black catch fence actually kind of disappears in your view if you're sitting in the stands, but hat tip to them for the work. Up in Wisconsin, the IRA Sprint Cars open their season at Beaver Dam on Saturday. Steve Sinclair and his group putting together a big list of full-timers that is 20 strong. I think that's going to be a really tough championship to win this season. And in California, the NARC season continues Saturday at the Tulare Thunderbolt. We're still not sure how this championship is going to play out, as race conflicts and weather, I think, could go a long way towards deciding who is even in contention to run the whole season. DJ Neto leads Caleb Montgomery and Shane Golobic in the standings, but first to 22nd are separated right now by just 51 points. Weekend races affected by rain include the ASCS National Tour at RPM Speedway. Both nights there have been postponed with new dates forthcoming. And the USAC Midget Opener at Kokomo has been pushed back a day with racing on Friday now off and the event running Saturday and Sunday. I've seen questions wondering why Jason McDougall is driving this 7X midget that we normally see Thomas Meserol in. McDougall is filling in for T-Maz, who will be in a wing sprint car at Knoxville. He's actually registered for the 360 division there this season. All right, this show has gone on long enough today. I hope you guys have a great Thursday and a great weekend out there. We will see you right back here on Sunday.